Some guys are alright hanging them up and riding off into the sunset after a long career. But others, once they hear the pads cracking in August, the lights hit the field just right, suddenly that retirement announcement starts to feel like a death sentence, and they're on the phone with their agent in no time trying to find a new home for a second act.
I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring. For good.
And while plenty of NFL comebacks flop, there are quite a few rare cases where stepping away, then stepping back, actually works out. Maybe it was unfinished business, maybe it was the right situation, or maybe some guys are just too wired for Sunday to ever stay gone for good. Regardless of what it is, today we dive into the 10 best NFL players to ever come out of retirement.
Wilson down the sideline, Lynch makes the catch, and he'll get
Reggie White, defensive end. Reggie White retired in 1998 as one of the most dominant defenders to ever put a hand in the dirt. A two-time Defensive Player of the Year, a 13-time Pro Bowler, the NFL's all-time sacks leader at one time. He had just won a Super Bowl with the Packers 2 years prior, cementing his Hall of Fame resume.
They're all going to join. It's going to just be one Packer legacy.
And Reggie again.
So when he called it quits at 37, nobody, and I mean nobody, questioned it. The guy had nothing left to prove. But as it turns out, Reggie White just wasn't quite wired for the rocking chair just yet. In 2000, after a year away, he shocked the league by signing a one-year deal with the Carolina Panthers. He was 38, coming off spinal surgery, and had already been enshrined in the greatest ever debate. Most expected that this was largely a ceremonial cameo to support the new organization. You know, they could sell some jerseys, maybe he would mentor some of the younger players on the expansion team, and then a quiet fade out. But instead, the man just went out there and played all 16 games. He posted 5.5 sacks, drew double teams like it was still 93, and while he wasn't quite the every down terror of his prime, he still flashed those legendary power moves and that ridiculous burst that made him the heart of every offensive coordinator's nightmare for 15 years. The Panthers didn't quite make the playoffs that year, but White's return was a bright spot on a struggling team, and a reminder that greatness doesn't always follow a linear timeline. It wasn't just a comeback, no. It was a victory lap from a man whose second gear, even at 38, was still better than most players' primes. Dion Sanders, cornerback. When Dion Sanders retired in 2000, it felt fitting. Prime time, riding off after a 14-year thrill ride that included 2 Super Bowl wins, 8 Pro Bowls, and more swagger than the rest of the league combined.
first down, goes long for Sanders. Caught by Dion at the 15-yard.
Again, he just had nothing left to prove. He had already changed the quarterback position, changed what it meant to be a shutdown guy, and of course notched the rare achievement of being a two-sport athlete at the professional level. But in 2004, 4 years removed from football and deep into a career as a broadcaster and mentor, Dion shocked everyone by signing with the Baltimore Ravens after being convinced by Ray Lewis and Corey Fuller to join their unit. The move wasn't just unexpected, it legit just felt like something out of Madden. Baltimore fans respected the name, but even they could see it. Dion's second act was more ceremonial than sensational. I mean, he wasn't taking away top receivers anymore. He was rotating in, playing zone, and providing leadership more than lockdown coverage. The media gave him a decent send-off, but quietly, the consensus was clear. He probably should have stayed gone. Though Sanders played every game of the season, he didn't exactly wow anyone. And the Ravens failed to qualify for the playoffs for the second consecutive season, prompting Sanders once again to retire. Tom Brady, quarterback. Tom Brady's first retirement lasted 40 days, just long enough for him to realize that he still had throws to make and defenses to dissect. The 2022 Bucs weren't the same juggernaut that won it all 2 years prior. Injuries, a shaky O-line, and an uninspired run game all took their toll. Brady, at 45, still led the league in completions and finished with over 4,600 passing yards. But Tampa Bay stumbled into the playoffs at 8-9, then got routed by Dallas.
Into this game, how would he perform on a national level? Here's one off the right hand of Jones.
After 22 seasons, 7 Super Bowls, and an ironclad claim to GOAT status, Brady announced his retirement in February of 2022.
I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring. For good.
He said that it was time to focus on family, on life after football. And then March rolled around, and the man just unretired like someone who realized that Sundays without football weren't experiencing. Or heck, even the following when they finished 13-4 and Brady went for 5,316 yards. Yeah, it wasn't a fairy tale ending, but heck, even in decline, Brady's arm accuracy and control of the offense remained elite. He called it quits again after that season, and this time, well, allegedly for good. But as we learned back in 2022, you never really know. Rob Gronkowski, tight end. Rob Gronkowski retired in 2019 at age 29, having already racked up 3 Super Bowl rings, 5 Pro Bowls, and a highlight reel full of broken tackles, wide receiver one-leg catches, and spikes in the end zone. He said that he needed a break, that his body needed a break, that football had become more pain than joy. And yet, a mere 18 months later, it appeared that the joy was back. And hey, what a coincidence, so is Tom Brady, calling from Tampa with dreams of a Super Bowl glory. In the sunshine this time around. So Gronk joined the Buccaneers in 2020 and eventually slotted right back into his old rhythm. He caught 45 passes that season as the Bucs paced his usage, scored 7 touchdowns, and saved his best for last, hauling in 2 scores in the Super Bowl to help Tampa stun Kansas City.
Stop again.
Brady play action. Witten, third option, end zone, caught!
He came back for one more year in 2021, missed some time with injuries, but still posted over 800 yards and remained one of the best run-blocking tight ends in the league.
Haven't had anything deeper than that they've come back from as the completion is made to Gronkowski.
Gronk's comeback wasn't just effective, it was downright impressive. He reminded the world that when healthy, he was still a matchup nightmare, and maybe the greatest tight end to ever do it. Marshon Lynch, running back. When Marshon Lynch stepped away in 2015, he appeared to be on the tail end of peak beast mode. He missed 9 games that final season for the Seahawks, and for the first time since 2015, when he was dealt to the Pacific Northwest midseason, he was not selected to the Pro Bowl. And having already delivered Seattle a Super Bowl and spending years making defenders look foolish weekly,
Wilson down the sideline. Lynch makes the catch. And he'll get
it seemed like it was time. However, retirement did not last long. In 2017, he returned to the NFL and signed with his hometown Raiders, just in time for the franchise's swan song in Oakland. And while the burst wasn't quite what it was in his prime, Lynch still brought the same punching style. He rushed for 891 yards and 7 touchdowns in his first year back. He played just 6 games in 2018 due to injury, and that seemed to be it. That is, until Seattle called again late in 2019. With their backfield decimated, Lynch returned, suited up, and delivered 4 more touchdowns in 3 games, including a postseason appearance. His return wasn't built on numbers. It was built on presence, paying homage to his hometown, and then one final ride with the team and the city that helped define him. And of course, there were more than a couple entertaining sound bites to go with it. Randy Moss, wide receiver. When Randy Moss retired in 2010, the general feeling was that we'd seen the last of one of the most electrifying pass catchers that the NFL had ever witnessed. He was a 6-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro, and the holder of the single-season touchdown record for a wide receiver. But Moss's final year before retirement was a rough one. He bounced between the Patriots, Vikings, and Titans in 2010, never finding a real groove. So when he stepped away, it felt like the book had closed with a fizzle, not a bang. But then came 2012, and with it, an unexpected call from the San Francisco 49ers. Moss, now 35 and 2 years removed from his last NFL snap, laced up once again. And while he wasn't exactly the burner that he once was, he did carve out a role as a situational deep threat and veteran presence on a team chasing hardware. The very hardware that had evaded him his entire career. The Niners went 11-4-1, made a run to the Super Bowl, and came up just short against the Ravens.
Made that play well. Kaepernick slinging it to Crabtree. Some contact.
On the individual front, it wasn't anything to write home about. Moss caught 28 passes for 434 yards and 3 touchdowns during the regular season. Not exactly eye-popping, but enough to remind folks that his football IQ and ball tracking were still elite. No, it wasn't a storybook ending, but it was a meaningful one. Moss walked away again with his legacy intact, albeit still ringless. Brett Favre, quarterback. Alright, so yeah, this right here, this is one of the most legendary would-be retirees of all time. Brett Favre's retirement saga felt more like a mini-series than a single decision. The Hall of Fame quarterback officially retired from the Packers in 2008 after flirting with it for years, only to unretire that same summer and force a trade to the New York Jets once the team publicly announced that it was ready to hand the reins to Aaron Rodgers. He lasted one up-and-down season in New York, then came back once more, this time in purple and gold with the division rival Minnesota Vikings, and that's where the real drama began. In 2009, at age 40, Favre put together arguably the best statistical season of his career. He threw for 4,202 yards, 33 touchdowns, and just 7 interceptions, leading the Vikings to a 12-4 record and an NFC Championship appearance. And giving Packers fans headaches watching their fallen hero thrive in enemy colors. He then returned for one more season in 2010, but injuries and age both finally caught up with him. Still, Favre's comeback with the Vikings was nothing short of stunning. Proof that even in his 40s, he had plenty of magic left in that cannon of an arm. Ricky Williams, running back. Ricky Williams' NFL story was anything but conventional, even before retirement entered the mix. So, needless to say that the narratives went wild when he stepped away from the Dolphins in 2004 amid suspension threats and mounting pressure, choosing instead to travel, meditate, and study holistic medicine. Critics called it quitting, Ricky called it clarity. And 2 years later, in 2005, he was back. And oh boy, he wasn't done. Williams returned to Miami and, despite sharing the backfield with Ronnie Brown, proved that he still had the vision, power, and balance that made him a Heisman winner and a top 5 pick.
Ricky Williams of the University of Texas.
Over the next 5 years, interrupted by another brief suspension, he chipped away, ultimately racking up 10,009 rushing yards for his career.
As a 1st and 10. Handoff. Williams taking it to the outside. Williams hurt.
Jason Witten, tight end. Jason Witten walked away in 2018 after 15 years of bruising, grinding, over-the-middle excellence. A perennial Pro Bowler, Mr. Reliable, and one of the best blocking tight ends of his generation. He went to the broadcast booth and, well, let's just say, not exactly everyone loved it. So in 2019, Witten made a surprise return to the Cowboys, rejoining the only NFL team that Pete ever known, and giving America a well-earned Witten palate cleansing. He wasn't as quick, and he wasn't as involved in the offense, but still, in 16 starts, he caught 63 passes for 529 yards and 4 touchdowns, becoming a steadying presence on a team that was unraveling in other areas. Yeah, it wasn't the best second act that we've ever seen, but I think we can all agree that he still ran circles around his career that he had in the booth. Eesh. Eric Weddle, safety. Eric Weddle's retirement in 2020 seemed final. He'd had a stellar career, 6 Pro Bowls, 2 All-Pro selections, and a well-earned reputation as one of the smartest safeties in the game. He settled into post-NFL life in Southern California, coaching high school football and enjoying family life. Then, in a scene straight out of a Disney movie, the Rams called. It was January of 2022. The playoffs are right around the corner. LA's secondary was ravaged by injuries. And suddenly, Weddle was lacing up again, despite being 2 years removed from the game. Stepped in cold, no ramp up, no preseason, just straight into the postseason. And man, he didn't just hold his own, he called the plays, led the secondary, and played every snap of the Super Bowl as the Rams beat the Bengals to win it all. Weddle didn't come back to chase stats, he came back to win. And in one of the most cinematic final chapters we've seen in years, he did exactly that. And then retired again, for real this time. But which NFL superstar were you most excited to see come out of retirement? Who do you think was the best to ever do it? Was there anyone that we may have missed here? Who do you think we got right? Who do you think we got wrong? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.